In this helper we will voice our own and market's perspective on Anc future, while looking at the Anchor convention cost guess for 2022, to say the very least, which is genuinely huge on the off chance that it's not excessively in every practical sense. Much difficulty recollect that you should essentially contemplate this and another conjecture while thinking about certainly different elements, since predicting anything fundamentally is a troublesome endeavor not to truly make reference to expecting the possible destiny of a novel significantly temperamental financial asset like Anchor convention, which in every way that really matters, is genuinely critical. By and by we ought to head into it before we plunge significant into the Anchor convention esteem figure and answer inquiries if Anc is a savvy hypothesis or not, why will Anc generally succeed or for the most part miss the mark, or why will more convention esteem rise or drop. We should quickly sort of throw a gander at what Anc especially is, and its to-date history in a genuinely huge manner. Anc value expectation for the following 90 days. The genuinely whole crypto world generally is on an edge of a certain explicitly bear market, especially, as opposed to mainstream thinking. Bitcoin has hung half from its unrivaled sort of high amidst the very greater market drops impacted by fuming development, and thus took care of rate increases. Monetary supporters are selling risky assets and moving into extra consistent business areas. Crypto is at this point seen as an incredibly perilous sort of play, and thusly, the bartering which in every way that really matters is very critical. Our algo still sees us genuinely green in 2022. Especially in the kind of second piece of the year in every practical sense, as opposed to mainstream thinking. This is reflected in our 2022 assumptions in a significant way. Right now Bitcoin needs to find a local base before we can move the kind of alternate way and essentially change the direction, which generally is very critical at the point when Bitcoin settles in the new expense range. Altcoins will in every practical sense start to do similarly. We in every way that really matters have seen this present circumstance commonly in the eliminated and later history. Our expense assumption model especially is in every practical sense negative for the accompanying 90 days, with a bit of an emphatically moving business sector at the redirect of the quarters from Q1 to Q2, sort of in opposition to mainstream thinking. We really expect whales and sort of other genuinely more noteworthy players in the market to fundamentally fold up, filling their sacks over that time, which will cause an ordinary and startling crypto spike in an unpretentious manner. Captain Altcoin Bunch made an expense assumption model with a different approach to reasonably manage crypto that thinks about both really concentrated assessment and certainly fundamental assessment of each undertaking. Nuts and bolts that we generally survey really are bunch tokenomics, use case by and large neighborhood attempts, liquidity and exchange openness, exposure and speculative especially potential, and a sort of barely any for the most part other prohibitive components made in our crypto lab in an extremely significant way. Anchor convention value expectation 2022. The vast majority of experts in every practical sense agree that this bear market will truly get through basically for the fundamental quarter of 2022. Going before we essentially see and in every way that really matters not many change and fundamentally little example reversals, which generally is very huge. Captain Altcoin's gauge model brings market assessment into a record and answers in this way or so. They thought the accompanying generally is a month-by-month breakdown of 2022, in spite of prevalent thinking. Anc value forecast 2025. Our assumption model sees Anc coming to 0.2953 in 2025. What will Anc in a real sense be somewhat worth in 5 years? In opposition to mainstream thinking, the expense of Anc in 5 years could really lie around 0.2529, according to Captain Altcoin's estimate model, which especially is very critical. Anchor convention value expectation 2030-2040. What Anchor convention will commonly be worth in 2030. Our gauging model sees Anchor convention coming to 0.7384 in 2030. In an especially large manner, what Anchor convention will be somewhat worth in 2040. In a sort of huge manner, our expecting model sees Anchor convention coming to 148 in 2040. Kind of in opposition to prevalent thinking, will secure convention supersedebit overpower Bitcoin in an unobtrusive way. No anchor convention won't override, or for the most part overpower BTC in a sort of significant manner will secure convention, especially reach 10 in a very enormous manner. To be sure, anchor convention could reach 10 close to the completion of 2022, kind of, as opposed to prevalent thinking. Could more convention reach 1000 or so? They sort of thought no. Our assumption model sees no valuable open doors for anchor convention to generally reach 1000 in the short or mid-term period, or so they certainly thought. Is anchor convention worth buying in an unpretentious manner? We fundamentally are advertisers of sensibly perilous cash. The board, in a real sense. Put most of your crypto portfolio in BTC half 35 in a canister of huge cap coins, and the rest in lovely little endeavors, with tremendous likely increase in a significant manner. Thusly, in this especially exceptional circumstance, anchor convention justifies buying, which truly is genuinely huge. Is anchor convention a savvy theory? Anchor convention is essentially similar as any leftover cryptographic types of cash, a hazardous endeavor. Incredibly, it especially has genuinely higher probability of going up than down, considering the exceptionally incredible use case, especially much arranged tokenomics, fundamentally unique neighborhood, and especially impressive gathering behind it. Genuinely in opposition to mainstream thinking, what some will secure convention be worth, which most certainly is very huge. For the transient future, it could generally reach 0.0860. Which is very critical. Eventually, 8 to 10 years, it could jump to 0.7384 or essentially basically higher. Why will secure convention fundamentally succeed and by and large get more costly, or so they in a real sense thought? Anchor convention for the most part has a good use case, certainly much arranged tokenomics, really powerful, most certainly neighborhood, an exceptionally impressive gathering behind it, or so they thought. These generally are and in every practical sense fundamental for progress, and to that end our assumption model sees anchor convention climbing to 0.7384 in 2030, genuinely in opposition to prevalent thinking. Why will secure convention in every way that really matters miss the mark and drop in cost, which for the most part is very critical? Crypto projects crash and burn in view of numerous variables, which is genuinely critical. Likely the most broadly perceived ones are bunch decries any sort of power and leaves the undertaking regulators reported unlawful, and press exchanges to delist it, non-attendance of media thought certainly more productive competitors, non-appearance of extremely much arranged promoting strategy, losing especially neighborhood, anticipated shortcoming in the show, failing to truly achieve expected kind of the least development activity on the show, forgetting to truly attract new architects to really develop their establishment, or so they thought. Will more convention reach 100 in an unobtrusive manner? Without a doubt possible. Anchor convention can reach 100 anyway in a distant future after 2030 or so they in a real sense thought.